Hey everybody, this week on Kane and Mike's Movie Night, we're checking out The Green Hornet. Hey everybody, welcome back to Kane and Mike's Movie Night Season 2. It is Mike along with...
Kato!
And I doubt she paid very much attention to this at all. We just got done watching The Green Hornet, starring three good actors and Seth Rogen.
I've watched this now with you 3 times.
Really?
Yes,
I
unfortunately.
don't remember the last time I watched this.
We were dating and you were still living with your mother.
Okay, so that would have been... But that would make this only the second time I can think of.
We've watched it once at Westview, once
did?
at your mother's, and once here.
We watched it once.
Yes.
Anyway, folks, The Green Hornet.
Ugh.
She's not a fan of this movie.
I don't like Seth Rogen.
That's what I said. It stars at least 3 good actors and Seth Rogen. If you want an idea of what the movie's about, look that up on Wikipedia or Google that stuff or what have you. Essentially, I am going to say this. This is not a good movie. I will just get that out of the way up front. It really is not a good movie.
If you're looking for a deep and philosophical movie, look elsewhere.
Yeah, look elsewhere.
If you're looking for... Yeah, I've got nothing good to say about it, so you move on to the next point.
I will say that when the best you can come up with for a quote on the back of the box, one, there's no quote on the front, but when the best you can come up with is from G4's Attack of the Show. Just saying. So, long story short, The Green Hornet stars Seth Rogen as Britt Reed, the Green Hornet, Jay Chow as his faithful companion Kato, Christoph Waltz as our villain Bludnovsky.
No, Chudnovsky turned Bludnovsky.
Yeah, well, by the end of the movie, he's Bludnovsky. And Cameron Diaz as Lenore Case, the faithful and loyal secretary of Britt Reed at the Daily Sentinel. The Green Hornet is actually one of the longest-lived comic book superheroes of all time. He starts back in the pulp days of the 1930s. Had his own radio show for years, was immensely popular. According to the lore of the Green Hornet world, he's the nephew of the Lone Ranger, which stems from the fact that the guy that created the Green Hornet was the same guy that had created the Lone Ranger for radio.
I like the Lone Ranger.
Well, we haven't seen the one with Johnny Depp yet.
I'm not going to, because why are we going to ruin something good? There was a good TV movie about the Lone Ranger.
Well, there were several good movies about the Lone Ranger, just like there were a couple of really good movie serials about the Green Hornet.
Yes, but I'm talking about in recent years.
Oh, well, probably. There were a couple of movie serials for the Green Hornet, and there was a television series in the 1960s.
Which we weren't alive for.
No, we weren't, but it was produced by the same crew that did the Batman television show in the 1960s.
So we're going to go corny.
Actually, it was not.
Campy.
They actually played it serious. So the Green Hornet show was played
God
straight.
Forbid.
They still had the narrator and whatnot, and some of the weird camera
What are
angles.
they going to do next week?
But it was played straight, and it was Bruce Lee's first exposure to an American audience was through the Green Hornet television series. They were so popular they even had a crossover 2-parter with the Batman television series. So one of the very rare cases where a DC comic book character and a non-DC character, because the Green Hornet's never really been owned by DC or Marvel, showed up together side by side in live action.
Let's be honest, if they had been, Seth Rogen wouldn't have been cast.
Well, no, he wouldn't have been. This movie is really just, it's a parody for all intent and purpose of the Green Hornet. It really is not a faithful recreation of what we, if you are a Green Hornet fan, of what you know and love. In point of fact, I would go so far as to say this actually is the 60s Batman of Green Hornet, because it's largely a comedy. It attempts to...
With a lot of cursing.
With a lot of cursing, and a lot of sophomoric stuff, but it's Seth Rogen, so were you really expecting anything less?
No.
There you go.
I was expecting him to drop the word fuck a little bit more.
And for those of you playing our drinking game, that's the first time all season. So we're sorry that you're still sober.
I can drop a few more because I feel like I need like several drinks after watching it. Or semi-watching it. So
we're gonna go ahead and get some of this loveliness out of the way early. What do you think of Seth Rogen as Brett Reed?
He fucking sucks!
He really is the worst part of this movie, folks, and he is the titular character.
I mean, literally, the reason you hire Seth Rogen is if you want crude humor, you want cursing, you want at least 3 cases of sexual harassment in the movie.
Oh, he was one of the executive producers. That does explain a lot.
And that's why he got away with that.
Seth Rogen, I get what they were going for. I get the idea, which was that Britt Reed is the, I don't want to say good-for-nothing son of his father. I think it was James Reed is the name they use in the movie. That basically he's the slacker kid who's going to try to be a superhero as just a thrill-seeking thing. I get the idea. And it's actually not a bad one if you're going to go for a campier, more comedic take on an origin story. But God, Seth Rogen was not the guy to do it.
You know what they were trying to do? They were trying to do a Deadpool before Deadpool came out.
I'm not going to give them that much credit.
But it feels like that. It really does, baby. It feels like they had this idea, and if it had been crafted properly with a different actor, it would have been Deadpool.
Now, to give credit where it's due, almost all the other actors in this movie do a good job. Jay Chow as Kato.
I like him making coffee. I would like to really taste that coffee.
My wife is a coffee connoisseur these days.
I made some Rocky and Awesome coffee this morning, but I didn't put a leaf in it.
Jay Chow plays Kato. The part originated for most American fans by Bruce Lee, although it had been played earlier, obviously, in the movie serials. But Bruce Lee is the most identified version of Kato in live action. I thought Jay Chow did a really good job of homaging a lot of Bruce Lee without outright copying him.
I never saw the...
You never caught the homages?
No, because I hadn't seen anything previous to this movie.
There are a couple of... Well,
you're a little bit more nostalgic for that stuff.
Well, what he's homaging really is not Bruce Lee as Kato. He's just homaging Bruce Lee in general. He does some of Bruce Lee's...
I haven't seen really any Bruce Lee movies.
We'll correct that at some point, sweetie.
No, I like my ignorance.
He does some of Bruce Lee's trademark gestures, and he uses Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch at one point in the movie against one of Bludnovsky's thugs. So there are some homages, like I said, without outright copying Bruce Lee or Bruce Lee's performance. She really did not like this movie.
I really feel like I need a nap.
What do you think? You had a nap during the movie. What do you think of Christoph Waltz as
He makes such a good bad guy, and that's really all he does.
The funny thing is, the first movie I remember seeing him in and knowing who he was Django Unchained, where he's one of the good guys. So...
He was a bad guy in one of the James Bond movies.
Right, but I don't think it's one of the ones I've seen.
Yes, it is. It's a Daniel Craig one.
Oh, no, okay, yes, because he's Inspector. That's right. But that's after Django Unchained.
He was a bad guy in this one.
Right.
Which came out before Django Unchained.
Right.
And there were like 2 or 3 other movies where he's the bad guy because he does a fantastic... It's like Sean Bean. Sean Bean has to be killed in every movie except for Jupiter Ascending because they don't know how to kill him.
But they should have killed everybody in Jupiter Ascending.
Yes. But he's like that. You'll occasionally find that one weird movie where the problem is they didn't kill Sean Bean and it's kind of sucky. Jupiter Ascending. Not that I'm saying Django Unchained is sucky because he's the good guy. I'm just saying that, you know.
Yeah, Django Unchained is a fantastic movie, which I think one day we will have to talk about on here.
Really? Watch it again?
Yes, because it deserves to be seen.
As long as you don't make me watch the Asian version one before we watch that one.
No.
Or okay.
So,
I'll promise.
Anyway.
Sorry.
Christoph Waltz.
I'd rather talk about anything but this movie.
Christoph Waltz does a pretty good job as Blednovsky. The concept being that he's basically a crime lord going through a midlife crisis. But the idea, Kane is right, earlier in the movie, he's Chudnovsky, his real name. He adopts the identity of Blednovsky, which I feel is probably a riff off the old idea that because Green Hornet is very much like a Batman type hero, probably a riff off of the idea that Batman created all of his own villains. It's sort of a riff off of that in many ways. The Green Hornet, by virtue of simply existing, created this villainous counterpart.
I think you're giving too much credit to the people who wrote that damn script.
Yeah, but I'm also talking about the comic books and whatnot. So
did he actually go by Blednovsky?
I believe there was a Blednovsky in the comics at one point. Because Green Hornet's actually been a comic book going off and on forever. Cameron Diaz as Lenore Case.
She phoned it in.
She really did. That could have been anybody, folks. It really... Cameron
You didn't
Diaz,
have to have Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, Cameron Diaz got a paycheck. So
it was a slow year.
But
either that or she lost a bet.
One or the other.
I'm putting money on lost a bet.
The parts of the movie that I liked are going to be mostly nostalgic. So Kane is going to have zero frame of reference for what I'm fixing to say. Number one, the Green Hornet's car, Black Beauty.
I love the car, but that's because I'm a car girl.
It is. But in most of the visual homages in this movie are homages back to the television series. So the car being a 60s Chrysler, jet black with lots of gadgets, that is the exact same car that is in the original Green Hornet television series and is called the Black Beauty in the television series. All the way down to the turntable where it's one car on top and it flips to reveal the Black Beauty and has the wheels secured by clamps as supposedly the only thing holding it in place. It's the exact same thing. A lot of the gadgets are the same. The costumes that we see our heroes wear, which for the record, do not be fooled by this Blu-ray cover, because this makes the movie look far more badass than it really is. But the costumes are very much riffs on the costumes from the television series. The masks that were worn on the TV show are very different than the masks that were worn basically in any other version of the Green Hornet. These are very much identified with the television series, the sunglasses style masks. So anything that I really liked about the movie in that regard was mostly nostalgia. And you got the Green Hornet theme, which is Flight of the Bumblebee at the very end of the movie. Was there anything about the movie you liked? The car. You liked the Black Beauty. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Even their music selection sucked.
It really did. It's when did this movie come out? 2011.
I feel like I wasted brain cells that I'll never get back.
Yeah, so the music that they used in the movie,
times.
the music they used in the movie, in a lot of cases was dated, even for when the movie came out in 2011.
Right, because they used Gangster's Paradise, right?
Yeah.
And that was very popular when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
I was in 6th grade.
So some of the musical choices were a wee bit questionable.
And the only kids that actually liked that were the kids who, decided they wanted to be gangbangers. And to me, that's not a good theme for this movie.
Give me two... I have to give her a limit here. 2 things that you genuinely did not like about this movie, not named Seth Rogen.
Damn it! They almost killed him and they failed. That's not Seth.
He wasn't Sean Bean?
He wasn't Sean Bean! I needed a good beheading right there.
There was a beheading in the movie, and then there was a reheading in the movie. I'm assuming statues don't count in her book. Anything else? One other thing that you didn't care for in the film?
I felt the script was very lazy.
I could say how so.
Well, the fact that the running theme was that Seth Rogen's character could not pronounce a single fucking name, which was supposed to be the running gag for him, and I get that. But it just felt like we need to make sure that this movie reaches a certain time frame. I don't know how to make this go for a certain time frame. We're either going to do this or we're going to let them ad-lib. And that's another problem. I felt that there was a lot of spaces that were ad-libbed that were not even necessary as being ad-libbed.
Yeah, the movie, it's Seth Rogen is, as I said, he's the weakest part of this movie. His portrayal of Britt Reed leaves a whole lot to be desired, even with the take that they were trying to go for. The story itself felt in many ways like it was the... this is almost like the new Ghostbusters of Green Hornet media. We talked about the new Ghostbusters movie in season 1, and one of the problems that movie had was it tried to explain everything, and it did it in very comedic fashion, because it felt like they were trying to pad runtime. Well, it's sort of the same thing here. We see construction on the Black Beauty, and we see lots of montages of gadgets and whatnot, and so... it really feels like they were trying to pad the runtime of the movie in certain places. The action sequences aren't bad. Jay Chow does a good job at it.
Yes, but they're super extended in an unnecessary way.
The Kato Vision?
Yes. That's very similar to what they do in Sherlock.
It is.
But they explain what the fuck is going on in Sherlock, while suddenly you see all these things being highlighted in red.
I don't think you had to have a reason for it to happen here. I don't think they needed to explain Kato Vision, because it was apparent what was going on. But, here's one very rare thing where I'm going to give this movie something over Sherlock. Sherlock did, like, Sherlock Vision in the first movie, where Holmes sees everything before it happens, his brain's working that fast, etc., etc., and it worked every time in the first movie, and they waited until the second movie to pay off the gag, where every time he uses Sherlock Vision, it works completely wrong. It doesn't work even once in the entire movie.
It worked once at the end.
Okay, it might have worked at the very end, but for most of the movie, it's like every time he does it, something does not go the way he anticipated. In this, at least they pay the gag off. It's one of the very few gags they do pay off in the movie, where... at the end, Britt Reed is able to do it too in one moment. And he screws it up, but at the very least, he's able to show a flash of competence. Unlike the actor who played him. So yeah, bottom line here is...
They have him do it twice.
What, Seth Rogen? Mm-hmm. I thought he only did it the one time, because there's only one time with the green outlines. That's at the very end. Regardless. They at least pay off the gag.
Because the first time he has his father talking to him in his head. See? This movie's so bad, he blocked it out.
No, he did not block it out. I just don't remember seeing the green outlines when his dad was talking to him. He didn't do green outlines
for him at that one.
Right, but no, that was him being an investigator, which is different than the fight scene action stuff. Regardless, we're arguing over minutia for a movie that doesn't need to be argued over minutia.
Can I give my vote?
Yeah, final thoughts and give your vote.
Never again. I want you to swear on this video that you will never make me watch this again.
Well, baby, we can only review it once.
Swear!
I will never make you watch this again.
Okay. Cell phone up.
I'm going to give it a half cell phone up. This gets 1/2 score from us. Because, like I said, it's not a good movie. It's in my collection, but it's in my collection largely for nostalgia. It's not a good movie, but to me it's a fun movie. I will break it out every once in a blue moon and watch it. The dynamic between the story of the movie is the dynamic between Kato and Britt Reed and them becoming a team. It is the origin story, or at least that's what they're going for. It is also one of the greatest missed opportunities in superhero cinema, in my opinion, because the Green Hornet has such a rich history and such a rich mythology to draw upon between the comic books. He's one of the few generational superheroes in comic books, so is Kato, that you really could do a fantastic feature film, a serious superhero movie based off the Green Hornet, or even a serious television show based off the Green Hornet. Not this. So, folks, there you have it. We do occasionally review a lemon on this show.
No more lemons.
Well, I know for a fact that Dragon Ball Evolution is on that shelf over there.
Yeah, but
so
I
is
like that movie.
So is Daredevil.
No Daredevil. Please don't give me Daredevil.
Could be worse. I've been eyeballing Elektra.
Oh God, no.
And I can get a copy.
I'm going to ban any more lemons for the season.
And I can get a copy of Catwoman.
If that enters our house.
So, folks, if you'd like to help us out here on the ECS Network, you can do that by going over to cafepress.com/ECS Network. Pick up a cool t-shirt. Please, folks, I am trying to rush this off the air. You can support us at patreon.com/ECS Network as well. Just put $1 in the tip jar. If you like the video, I'm not talking about the movie. You can hate the movie. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, the review, give us a thumbs down. Just let us know why either way. Leave some comments in the comment section below. And, of course, hit that red subscribe button because that does help us out a whole lot. So, folks, until next time, where I promise you, swear to goodness, we will be talking about a better movie. I am Mike.
And I'm Kana.
And we will see you next movie night.